lonely in here. We need to get this show on the road because we have, in addition to all our presentations, and we have lots of them, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 at least, there's multiple people in some of the other shows. We have at least 8 presentations. Only one council member. We had 8 council members in one presentation who did Dixon. So everybody was warned, and there must be some of you in the building somewhere, as you all do here 5 minutes ago. And I get a gold star because this is probably the first time ever that I beat Cindy Mizikowski into this chamber. Okay, now we have 2. We need 8 more for a quorum. We still only have 2. We've got 3. One more and we're going to start the presentation. 11 minutes after 10. There we go, a fourth one. All right, we are now going to begin the presentations. Ladies and gentlemen, if you will take your seats. If you guys will move over that way a little bit so we can start here. All right. Now, I was actually here first, but I think Mr. Hernandez is, so I'm supposed to get to go first. Mr. Hernandez, are you ready to do your presentations? For those of you who are being honored, the only reason we haven't called the meeting to order is that we don't have enough people here yet to do that, but they will be drifting in, and by the time you are all duly recognized and acknowledged, they'll be here or there'll be trouble. So the chair starts by recognizing Mr. Hernandez for 3 presentations. We're now up to 5 members.
Yeah, Madam Chair, let me simplify your life. I'm only going to make 2 presentations, but Mr. Ridley Thomas will complicate it by making the 3rd one.
See if he gets here.
First of all, I don't see my staff, and that complicates things for me, but I'm going to be making the CAB board presentation first. The CAB and the CUP board, if I could have them come up, please. Oh, they're still trying to get through the metal detector, so then I'll make my other presentation first. Members of the council, every year it's my pleasure to welcome to the City Council not only the president of the Chinese Chamber of Commerce, and I'd like Ada Chan Wong to please come up at this time, but also David G., who has been here year after year. Is David here? Not here. Oh, he's not here this year. And it's my honor to present to the council the Queen and her court from Chinatown. And I'd like to present at this time the 2001 Miss Los Angeles Chinatown and her court. On January 20th, they were basically a part of an entire group at a pageant that was selected to represent Chinatown. And they play ambassadors to encourage cultural goodwill throughout the city by attending and speaking at various cultural events during their reign. And normally they come here before the Chinatown Chinese New Year's Parade, which we held, I guess, last Saturday. Yeah, the 10th. And we were all blessed with some sunlight for a few moments for that parade. But this is not just a beauty pageant. I need people to understand this. They play a very important role throughout that community, but throughout really Southern California, representing Chinatown and the Chinese community at many events. And I'd like to basically say a little bit about each one, and then I'll call up the Queen. And I always keep them a little bit special for after the presentations. But first, I want to introduce each one and say a little biography about them, because that's what impresses me the most, the biographies and their backgrounds. The Queen is Lynn Liu, and she's in her 3rd year at UCLA majoring in development studies. She's involved with a co-ed professional business fraternity, Delta Sigma Phi. The first princess is Winnie Fong. Winnie? She's a 3rd year USC majoring in visual anthropology. And she works as a manager of the USC men's basketball team. We have Mary Liu, who's a 2nd year University of California, Riverside majoring in sociology. She's active in the University of Riverside's Asian Pacific Student Center, where she mentors for incoming freshmen. And then we have Joy Xu, who is a senior at USC, majoring in education and minor in East Asian languages and cultures. She's involved in the Asian Pacific American community, working as a positive experience enriching relationships coordinator. Then we have Evelyn Xu, a graduate of cum laude, Cal Poly Pomona, majoring in computer science. She currently works for one of the world's leading aerospace technology companies as a software engineer. I'll save the little king and little queen presentation till after the Queen, says a few words about her court. Queen Lin Lu.
Thank you. It's such an honor to be here in front of the City Council today and also members of Los Angeles. We're very happy to be here. This whole experience as ambassadors of goodwill for the Chinese Chamber of Commerce and for the Chinatown community has been so exciting and so enriching for myself and my court. So many exciting opportunities. For example, today we actually came in here on a DWP electric vehicle, and that was so fun. You know, we've never had an experience like that before. He's already introduced my court, but I'd just like to go down again. This is Winnie Fong, Mary Liu, Joyce Xu, and Evelyn Xu. Anyway, thank you very much for having us. It's been wonderful. We hope to be able to see each and every one of you in the future and this next year as we continue our role on court and as ambassadors. Thank you very much.
Now, Madam Chair, members of the council, it's also my honor to present some very important ambassadors to Chinatown. They also were real involved in the parade, and they attend many events. But I'd like to start with the little king of Chinatown, Michael Kwong. Michael? Just pretend we're in a parade. The Little Prince, Edmund New. The first one in my office this morning beat my staff, the Little Queen, Jessica Chong. And the Little Princess, Shannon Lee. Welcome to City Hall. Okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
Now, you're not going to tell me that the little ones are in college, too, are you?
No,
Not yet.
But knowing the little king's father, Peter, I don't think he's going to give his son much choice. Okay.
All right, thank you.
And we'll be giving you all a certificate in the back. Thank you.
And you have another presentation.
One more
yes?
presentation, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, members of the council, at this time also, we just had a reception honoring the City of Los Angeles Community Action Board members, as well as the Citizens Unit in Participation. And I'd like them to come up if I could. And while they're here, I want to say a few words, and I'd like some of the newer council members to kind of listen to this history. It's part of my getting ready to depart, because I've had the pleasure of working with the CAB board and the CUP board for the last 9 years, and the reality is next year someone else is going to have to follow that role. At the same time, we might not know a little of this history, but the Community Action Board, the CAB board, was fully constituted on June 14th, 1982. And what you need to understand is it started basically its formation in terms of community empowerment and participation in decision-making in 1964-65. That was during the era of the Watts riots, if we all remember. And what the challenge was is, how do you get the community involved in the decision-making? And the federal government basically was requiring, as part of the federal entitlement process, that we create a citizens unit that would participate as an advisory board in terms of decision-making as to how that money should be spent. I remember when we had the Northridge earthquake, how it was that Secretary HUD, the Secretary of HUD Cisneros, basically called a community meeting before we could receive those earthquake funds that were so sorely needed, and we held that meeting out in Van Nuys. But this is part of that kind of history. Their function is to basically provide a broad range of community input into the public service process of the city's Community Action Agency. We call it the Community Development Department. The CAB is an advisory body to the city's governing body, which is made up of local governing officials, the mayor and city council. In June of this year, the CAB will commence its 20th year in operation on behalf of the citizens. And one of the things I need you to know is that the CAB board, they're elected by CEPAs. And we forget that they're elected in their own communities to be members of that body. Now, that's important because we have 6 CEPAs, and you have 6 members elected. Today, we're talking about neighborhood councils because we're trying to empower communities. And there was a process because they've held hearings throughout the city, and they presented their report to us just recently. But last year, the CUP, which is a Citizens Unit for Participation, you need to know their role is to be advisory on the human services delivery system. That's that 25% cap I keep on arguing for in terms of the block grant. And they issued a formal report to the citizens of Los Angeles and its representatives. In 1999, the CUP surveyed the public at festivals and other special events. They asked very simply, how do you, citizens of Los Angeles, want to see the federal dollar grant spent in your community? They were assured that their comments counted and that the city decision makers would listen to their ideas. The CUP boards personally reviewed last year's report with members of the City Council and the Mayor's office. Some of the report's results were incorporated into the 1999 Consolidated Plan, and it's an important document for us when we're trying to seek those federal funds. I wanted to take the time to congratulate and recognize CAB board members and CUP board members for your contributions and hard work and dedication as past chairs for the Private Industry Council for the City of Los Angeles and Community Development Department. I say that because as I've worked with CAB board members and CUP board members, they take their roles very seriously. And the federal government requires us to listen to their advice. It's part of citizen empowerment in the decision-making process, and I just wanted to kind of remind everybody that that's in place. Joan Saliba, who's a Community Action Board member, is President Joan, and she's been president before. We also have Dr. Peter Rivera, who's currently on the CAB and the CUP chair. Dr. Peter Rivera, we just appointed him to a commission. Phil Mayorga, he's been on the Citizens Unit for Participation in Community Development in the City of Los Angeles for the last 25 years, and I'll share with you that Phil thinks he's the city councilman. Kathy Powell, and I just met Kathy this morning. Yes. But he's been on the Citizens Unit for Participation in Community Development Department, City of LA for the last 10 years. We also have Alma Reeve Woods, who's been on the Citizens Participation Community Development Department, City of LA for the last 25 years, Alma. Now, I just wanted to share the history of the members because these are very dedicated citizens to the City of Los Angeles, in particular in the human service delivery system. Many of our staff members participate with them in regards to that decision-making before it comes to the committee, and the mayor also makes some appointments as part of this process. I just know that their work is very dedicated, it's very hard, and we as a council, particularly and as members, need to recognize that work. And I have some certificates for that purpose. Where are the certificates? We have Lee Harrington, who's not here, Alma Reeves Woods, and I'll read Alma's because you're the first one I called up. Alma has a fan in Councilmember Ridley Thomas, I could tell already. But in recognition for outstanding citizenship and activities in enhancing community betterment, Alma Reeve Woods is hereby awarded this certificate of tribute for exemplary efforts and accomplishments which have been of great value to the community and to the City of Los Angeles, and which have helped further the common goal of making our city a better place in which to live.
Bravo.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Great. Thank you.
Donna Tuttle, who's not here at this time. Here's my favorite. I hate to say that, but I have to because he's always in my case. This certificate attributed is to Mr. Phil Mallorca. Phil?
Thank you so much.
Marvis Davis, who's not here at this time. Again, as president of the CAB board, I've had a lot of interaction with this next person. She's from Council Member Cindy Miskowski's district, someone who's done a lot of work and always expressed concern as to how these monies were being spent and was also understanding of the city's priorities in our decision-making process. This is to Joan Saliba. 10 years, Kathy, and we didn't meet before, huh? This is for Kathy Powell. Again, whose district are you in, Kathy?
9th District.
The 9th Councilman Member Rita Walters District, Kathy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Another person worked very hard, part of the Private Industry Council, but also, I guess it was the CAB board and the CUP board, right? All three. And we just lost them to a commission, and is that the Housing Commission? Housing and Rent Commission. Dr. Peter Rivera. Members of the council, again, when we would sit here at the block grant, and I really appreciate the respect that members have given me in being able to negotiate that block grant every year and trying to figure out how to put it all together. The people who came up and fought on behalf of issues of housing, social services, and the needs of the neighborhoods with a very strong voice are standing behind me. And I just wanted to appreciate them, and hopefully all of you will, and we'll continue to have a strong working relationship with the CAB board and the CUP board. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hernandez. The chair recognizes Council President Pro Tem Ruth Galanter.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm very pleased today, as soon as I get them assembled here, to recognize I forget how many years we've been doing this, but this year's crop of city employees who were the winners of the City Facilities Recycling Program's Recycling Calendar Art Contest. Got that? Each year, those of you who pay attention actually do recycle. Here in the city of Los Angeles, we have a very dedicated group of people within the General Services, the Bureau of General Service, what do we call you, a Department of General Services, and all those green containers and brown containers in your office are supplied and taken care of by the City Facilities Recycling Program. They also supplied us with the 2 separate cardboard containers that are under each desk, one for white paper and one for mixed paper. I've been trying to train people in that for years. But if you don't have 2, we can get you 2. Every year we put out a calendar to remind people to think about recycling. And this calendar is made up of the work of city employees from different departments who choose to submit it. So our celebration this morning is to recognize the winners from 9 different departments and to award them each a savings bond, $100 U.S. savings bond. So let me first introduce John Muckrey, who is the general manager of the General Services Department, who oversees he's the boss. He's the guy who tells them all to do all this good work. And then we want to recognize the employees from each department. So,
Thank you, Councilmember. I always like being on this side of the podium because we are a department. When I'm up there, I'm part of a problem. So it's always great to be on this side of the microphone. This, I believe, is our 7th year we've been doing the calendar, and I've only been with the city for 6, so it actually predates me. I want to introduce Mr. Bob Jensen, who's a new Assistant General Manager in charge of the Purchasing, Receiving, Inventory, blah, 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 PRIMA program. I want you to know our theme this year was buy recycled content. Every single contract we issue now has specifications and or requirements for either recycle or post-consumer products, and we are doing a fantastic job. If you look at your Office Depot contract, you will see that there's a little bug there that says recycle. I encourage anyone and everyone in the city, as you buy products, you pick that bug. A few years ago, I know we had many problems with post-content material or recycled products. I have not seen that problem anymore. The products are getting better, they're getting more price competitive, and they are plentiful. So without any further pumping of this product, I want to say I was pleased. I'm proud of the people who are involved in it. They've done a fantastic job. It's grown every year since I've been here, and my commitment is we'll continue to grow. I live on this planet too. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, I'm going to read off everybody's name, and John, you're going to be very disappointed to learn that these are not in the same order as your list. So we'll just have to get organized here. Several of the people could not be here this morning, and so we'll just give them their certificates later. But these are the folks who took a little extra time to help us promote recycling in the city. First, we have Teresa Yazanuga from Fire and Police Pensions, who's not here. Not here? Take that. Michael Espinoza from the Board of Public Works and Operation Clean Sweep, our favorite program. Take this, Michael. This is what you really want. These things are pretty, but the money's in the envelope, or the savings bond is. Lisa Reynosa from the Department of Transportation. Thank you. David Rojo, Community Development Department. Not here. Vernon Tabarara, Department of Public Works, Bureau of Engineering, also not here. These people are all working, I want you to know. If they're not working, we'll find out why. Rodolfo Leyva, Community Development Department. You guys must be in this list. Well, you're not in this list. You're an executive. Warren Dykus, Information and Technology Agency. Thank you. Joan Alexandria Wang from the Community Development Department. CDD is really well represented here. And Kim Davis from Council District 9. Not here. She sent a friend. Okay. Now, John, the one thing we want to know is where can they get these calendars?
They can get them from our office. We've actually distributed them in January.
Step to the microphone here.
We actually distributed most of the calendars throughout January. We contacted your departments individually, but if you would like some more, we do have some left. You can just call 847-2821 and we'll send some out to you.
And members of the public can do that too, right?
Absolutely, although it's geared towards city employees with all the city holidays and paydays and everything. But the members of the public are welcome to them.
All right. Thank you all. Congratulations. Thanks for your hard work. Keep up the good work. Yes, but I have to do one more presentation first. Now, I do have one. We're going to go take pictures in a minute, but I do have one other unrelated presentation. What happened to Mr. Deaton? I saw him here a moment ago. Well, he fled again. We have Deaton. Are you here? We're about to recognize your former employee here. I'd like to ask John Ryan to come up and join me. And you too. Members of the City Council, most of us don't know John Ryan, but he's been doing a lot of good work for us. For the last 6 years, he's been helping us do things like execute the land exchange in Inyo County that resulted in Manzanar becoming a National Historic Site, and used to just be ordinary DWP property, and now it belongs to the country and belongs to history. He helped secure federal grants for the Manzanar Visitor Center and the city's share of the Owens Lake Mitigation Project, a project near and dear to my heart. He also successfully led the city's effort to secure federal funding for the West Basin Reclamation Project, a very successful water reclamation project. He also worked as the lead lobbyist in the city's effort to make sure that we stayed out of the deregulation program here in California. And we are deeply indebted to you, everybody is, for your help in making sure that we retain the autonomy to keep our own lights on. He also worked with the Large Public Power Council Washington representatives from the other public power agencies and was chairman of the Government Relations Task Force of that group. And he helped orient Washington congressional staff so that they could figure out what the major facilities issues are so that they wouldn't make any mistakes by deregulating us when we don't want to be deregulated. But he's leaving, which is the reason that we've asked him to come in here today. He's going off to become the head tax lobbyist for the National Rural Electric Cooperative Association. So he's staying in the electric business. And before I get him up on the microphone so that we wanted to thank you, all of us who use electricity here in the city of Los Angeles, and anybody who's ever been or plans to go to Manzanar for the pilgrimage wants to thank you for your hard work. And even Mr. Deaton wants to thank you, I believe.
Now, John's been a very good person in Washington on the deregulation issue, especially coordinating all the public power agencies, the larger ones nationwide, and has been a loyal member of the city's family and lobbying for many years now. And I'm sorry to see him go. I understand he might stay at this job or even maybe find his way into the Bush administration later on. But
You mean we'll have a friend here?
we have our only friend, perhaps, but nonetheless.
We need one. Want to say anything, John?
Sure. I appreciate it very much. It's a great city. I've worked for 5 years. The Department of Water and Power is a great department. It doesn't need representation in Washington, but I was happy to do it. It's quite a nice agency, a good agency that does good work, and it was my pleasure representing them, representing the council, representing the mayor in my capacity in Washington for the last 5 years, and I appreciate the recognition. It's very nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Ms. Galanter. The chair recognizes Councilmember Ridley Thomas just for an introduction. Mr. Ridley Thomas, you want to make an introduction?
Thank you, Madam President, members of the council. I thought it would be worth our knowing that one of the members of the Board of Trustees for the Los Angeles Community College system is here. She is the Honorable Mona Fields. Please welcome her and give her a big round of applause. Mona, where are you? And Sylvia's here as well. Another board member, Sylvia Hayes. Thank you. Good to see you. Glad you're here.
Thank you. Mr. Pacheco, are you ready for your presentation? Okay, the chair will recognize Councilmember Pacheco.
Madam President, colleagues, I'm here today to recognize two of our public servants. I'm going to start off with Mr. Cundiff, Steve Cundiff here, who's had 21 years of service to the city of Los Angeles, most recently with the Housing Department. Steve started in 1979 his career with the Community Development Department as a rehabilitation construction specialist assigned to the Highland Park Home Program Office. He quickly established himself as a person of skill and knowledge and was instrumental in the implementation of the Neighborhood Preservation Program here at the Los Angeles Housing Department. Steve has labored faithfully and tirelessly in the construction of over 3,000 low-income properties throughout the city of Los Angeles. And in 1979, Steve was assigned by the Los Angeles Housing Department to the East Neighborhood Preservation Program as a rehabilitation construction specialist too. He was to oversee the construction of affordable home improvement loans for homeowners and rental property owners of low-income households. Steve's knowledge, expertise, and service has benefited many Los Angeles neighborhoods such as the Central area, Echo Park, Crenshaw, Ball Heights, El Sereno, Highland Park, and Cypress Park. Steve was instrumental in the success of the Targeted Neighborhood Initiative grant programs of Ball Heights and Highland Park in the rehabilitating of old and deteriorated housing into a safe, quality standard of living. Steve presents an exceptional competence, reliability, and leadership, and has excelled among his peers with a caring attitude towards his jobs and the people of the city of Los Angeles. And on behalf of the city of Los Angeles, I would like to present you with this resolution which reads, "Now therefore be it resolved that by the adoption of this resolution, the City Council of the City of Los Angeles and Mayor Richard Reardon highly commend Steve Cundiff for his 21 years of dedicated and outstanding service to the City of Los Angeles." Thank you. This is the boss. Say a few words. Steve gets to say a few words.
This couldn't have been done without the help of the people of City of LA. So I owe it all to them. And my wife.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. Thanks. Now I want to bring up one of our other esteemed city employees who's chosen to retire. Can I bring up Gene Bruce Poole? As many of you know, El Pueblo de Los Angeles is one of our historical monuments here. It is the landmark encompassing the birthplace of the city of Los Angeles. It includes the Plaza, Avila Adobe, Sepulveda House, Italian House, Pico House, the Firehouse, the Merced Theater, and the Garnier Block. These are all landmarks that are reflective of our rich heritage here in the city of Los Angeles. Gene Bruce Poole has been senior curator and historic museum director of El Pueblo for over 23 years and has played a significant role in the documentation and preservation of these major landmarks in Los Angeles history. Gene Bruce Poole has brought her vision and support for the inclusion of the rich ethnic and cultural history of our city by the founding communities, the Chinese American community, the Mexican American community, the Italian American community, and as I understand, there were also a contingency of African American and Filipino representation during the founding of our city. Through her efforts, El Pueblo will now include a Chinese American museum. We will also have the historic Italian Hall be part of a museum, and is also now spearheading the effort to preserve the mural called America Tropical by the famous painter David Alfaro Siqueiros. Gene Bruce Poole is widely recognized as a historian and preservation, having authored and co-authored numerous publications on the history of Los Angeles, including her forthcoming book chronicling the buildings and people of the El Pueblo Historical Monument. Gene Bruce Poole has received many awards, including the Phenomenal Woman Award from California State University at Northridge, the President's Award from the California Preservation Foundation, the Irene and V. Aubrey Nisham Annual Award from the California Historical Society, and the David Cameron Award from the Los Angeles Historical Society. And knowing Gene Bruce Poole as well as I do, I will be remiss in not plugging one of the things that we discussed at the end of during our exit interview, if you want to call it that. But I will be introducing and requesting support of the council. This is something that Gene Bruce Poole and I talked about digitizing all of our black and white historic photos that they are currently holding at El Pueblo so that we can make them available for research, for students, and for everyone in the community. So just know I'm going to give you a heads up right now that is one of the projects I promised Gene Bruce Poole as a going away gift, is that I would secure funding to digitize all those great photos that are out there at El Pueblo right now. And hopefully we'll get the council support on that when it comes forward. It is with great pleasure, Gene, that I want to present you with this resolution that reads, "Now therefore be it resolved that by adoption of this resolution, the Los Angeles City Council hereby bestows its gratitude and best wishes to Jean Bruce Poole on the occasion of her retirement after 23 years of dedicated service to the people of the city of Los Angeles." Thank you so much for all your service, Jean Bruce Poole.
Before you say anything, Mr. Hernandez wanted to be heard.
Madam Chair, I just had to stand and say a few words about Jean Bruce Poole because I first met her as a commissioner representing El Pueblo before I was on the city council. And at the time, we were dealing with a lot of issues, but we didn't have the kind of support, I believe, from the city to do the projects that are before us today. We talked about Siqueiros, but there was no funding. The Chinese Museum was just barely getting off the ground. There was strong debates going on as to how the money was being spent in regards to the historic preservation of the buildings versus the maintenance of the businesses that actually do business there at Calle Olvera. And of course, there was a tremendous community debate in regards to the interpretive period that should be used to define El Pueblo. And what you need to know is Jean Bruce Poole is a true historian in my mind, someone who basically stood fast and did not bulge. She just basically decided that it was her role to explain to us what El Pueblo was about. And I appreciate that. I want her to know that today, what is happening at El Pueblo, not the birthplace of Los Angeles, but one of the birthplaces of the city's pride and I think the city's soul, is something we can all stand up for because the Siqueiros mural is becoming a reality. The Italian Hall is being renovated. A tremendous amount of work's happened at the streetscape. The historic buildings are opening up. The commission that's been established for El Pueblo is basically an authority commission, and it's no longer this bilateral or trilateral commission. And so, Jean, you were there. You made sure that there was a clear focus in terms of the preservation of the buildings and the history of El Pueblo, and I just publicly wanted to thank you for that.
Jane, now it's your turn.
Thank you very much. I'm very honored by this signal recognition. And I just want to say that I think El Pueblo has the potential of being the greatest historic attraction in the state. It just needs some money and help. And the important thing is that historic interpretive exhibits, state-of-the-art exhibits, be done because that's what will bring the people here. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed working here.
Well, thank you for all your hard work.
I just wanted to close by reminding people that Jean Bruce Poole said that she needed more money because it's very important that we support El Pueblo. And just to really inspire everyone, I will share with you something that my chief of staff still is in denial about, but that is that I have found out recently through my mother that I'm 1/8 Italian, so Miss Eleanor Duffy here works very hard to make sure I push the Italian Hall, and Joe Sorrell reminds me also how important it is to be a part of that family. So thank you for supporting El Pueblo historically, and we look forward to a little bit more money. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pacheco. The chair recognizes Mr. Padilla for a presentation. We do have, and while you're going up there, we do actually have a quorum, so let's call the roll.
Burtson, Fiora, Galanter, Hernandez, Holden, Miskowski, Pacheco, Padilla, Ridley, Thomas, Orange, Wax, Walters, Farrar, 11 members present in a quorum, Madam President.
All right, members of the council, treasure this moment because we may have trouble getting through our entire agenda before we lose a quorum, so don't anybody leave. A couple of people have said that they have to leave at what I would determine is a reasonable hour, but they called it early, so we're going to hope the agenda goes well. Mr. Padilla.
Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, it's the fun part of our job when we get to stand here and make presentations like the one I'm about to make. I'm proud to tell you that the girls volleyball champions for the city of Los Angeles are from the 7th Council District and from Sylmar High School. And they're standing here behind me. The special honor today is that it's not just the varsity champions that are from Sylmar High School, but Sylmar High School also won the junior varsity championship, and that's the first time the same school has won both the varsity and junior varsity championships in the history of the sport in the city of Los Angeles. Just a couple of things about Sylmar High School, because I think it's very impressive. They have a new school volleyball record. They won 51 straight games in competition. As part of earning their city section championship, they were also listed among the top 16 teams in the state of California as they went on to compete in the state championships for the first time in the school's history. Since 1989, the girls team has compiled a record of 156 wins with only 36 losses. That's a winning percentage of 81%. And just as importantly, I think it's important to recognize that a majority of the volleyball players are not just successful on the court, but are recognized as scholar athletes, having earned grade point averages of 3.0 or higher. That deserves a round of applause. And so I wanted to invite them here today in front of all of us, in front of the city of Los Angeles, to recognize both the varsity team and the junior varsity team for their success this last season, for being true champions and examples for the rest of the city of Los Angeles. Congratulations, girls. And if I can call up the two coaches, the year 2000 Coach of the Year, Bob Thompson, and assistant coach Sohio Mashoud to accept the recognitions on behalf of the school and maybe say a few words, and maybe a captain or two can say a few words as well. Here you go. Congratulations. One for each.
Okay.
Mike's
Thank you. Thank you very much. Madam President and members of the City Council, it is truly an honor to be here this morning. And on behalf of Sylmar High School, our principal, Dr. Calvo, our coaching staff, and the members of the girls volleyball team behind me this morning, we'd like to thank Councilman Padilla for inviting us here this morning to share in our success. And we're very happy to be here again and give recognition, and we appreciate the recognition we're given this morning. It is, from a coaching standpoint, it's not just the winning that was important, it was the process of the winning. All of these girls got along well. As you can see, we have a large number of them here. The chemistry was great. They all understood the role and accepted the role, which is quite unique as well. And this offered us the opportunity to have the kind of success we had this year. We're very proud also of the fact that many of them are multi-sport athletes. As a matter of fact, one of them just recently, and we're very proud of this, accepted and got offered a scholarship to play softball at the University of New Mexico next fall. And we'd like to congratulate
the one turning red.
I'd like to congratulate Crystal Mejia for that honor. And again, we're also very proud of the fact, as Councilman Padilla mentioned, that many of these players are scholar athletes earning grade point averages of 3.0 or better. We take great pride in that as they strive for not only athletic success on the court, but also academic success in the classroom. So before you this morning, you do see some of the best and the brightest at Sylmar High School. And at this time, before you meet them, I'd like to introduce our assistant coach, who for the last 11 years has been a great part of our success at Sylmar High School. He went to Sylmar High School, played for me on the boys volleyball team, graduated in '91, went on to earn his degree at UCLA, and came back to his high school alma mater and is currently teaching in the science department at Sylmar High School. So it's with great honor that I present to you our assistant coach, who's one of the finest and most experienced young volleyball coaches in the city, Sohio Mashoud.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to call up our two varsity captains, Barbara Smiley and Stephanie Cisneros, to present Councilman Padilla with an city championship T-shirt and make you an honorary member of our championship team.
Play?
We sure like to use you.
I serve.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. You girls want to say something? Captains, come on. This comes with being a captain.
I'd just like to thank Mr. Padilla for having us here and recognizing this team because we worked really hard this season and all these girls deserve it. And most importantly to the two coaches because without them we would never have made it this far. So thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. I think the council can learn from their teamwork, their hard work, their discipline, and their focus. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. We'll expect to see you back next year. Chair recognizes Mr. Ridley Thomas for a presentation.
Madam President, members of the council, I'd like for you to join me in inviting to the podium the one and only Earlene Jordan, a longtime city employee who is retiring. Earlene, won't you come forward, Ms. Jordan? She retires from the Office of the Chief Legislative Analyst. We're going to ask Mr. Deaton if he will join us. Both Mr. Deaton and I wish to express to Ms. Jordan our appreciation for her years of service in two council offices and finally in the office of the Chief Legislative Analyst. And so on behalf of both of those offices, we'd like to present you with this token of appreciation and our regard for your service. And we're going to ask Carolyn Webb de Macias, who is now with the University of Southern California in the office of the provost, doing extraordinary work there. She'd be kind enough to present the resolution to you. So on behalf of Mr. Deaton and myself, Ms. Jordan.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, yes. Oh, my goodness.
Thank you. Good morning. It's appropriate, I think, that I could come back today, and this is the first time I've actually been back and in these council chambers for Earlene's retirement, to tell you just a little bit about Earlene. Earlene Jordan is retiring from employment with the City of Los Angeles after 13 years of extensive city council and community service. Earlene was born in Dallas, Texas, where she attended Lincoln High School, Houston Tillotson College in Austin, Texas, Bishop College in Dallas. In June of 1959, she relocated to Los Angeles with her two small children and her aunt. And in 1959, she became an active member of the community. Immediately, she joined People's Independent Church of Christ, and she served on the board of directors of the People's Independent Church Federal Credit Union. Now, we could stay here all morning talking about Earlene, but let it suffice to say that she was involved or has been involved in 17 other organizations in our communities as a board member and chairperson. From 1979 to 85, Earlene worked for the First Financial Federal Credit Union as corporate administrative assistant. And in 1986 to 1991, she served as special assistant to the late Councilman Gilbert Lindsay and was the liaison for the councilman to the religious community. In 1991, Councilman Ridley Thomas came to office, and we had the great good fortune to hire Earlene as our first employee because she knew something about the action and activities at City Council, and we needed her help. So Earlene joined the councilman's staff and worked as an administrative assistant. And then in 1997, she transferred to the Chief Legislative Analyst, and from that time until now has worked in that capacity. Throughout her extensive professional and community service, Earlene has always remained cheerful, courteous, and dignified, and she has endeared herself to all who have come into contact with her.
Thank you.
Earlene Jordan plans to enjoy her life as a retiree and take time to decide what she wants to do in the future. She plans to spend time with her friends and volunteer time to assist seniors and young people. She has 2 adult children and a grandson, and she has many members of her family and church with her this morning for this occasion. Her daughter and son and daughter-in-law are immediately behind us. And so, Earlene, on this day, on behalf of the City Council, all members having signed, and the mayor, be it resolved that by adoption of this resolution, the mayor and the City Council of the City of Los Angeles hereby thank and commend Earlene Bass Jordan for her years of faithful service to the City of Los Angeles and wish her many years of happiness in all future endeavors. Congratulations.
Now I know how the Academy Award people feel. And the people they want to thank, I want to thank God, I want to thank my mother, my father. Well, first I do thank God, and I am so grateful to him for the goodness that he has allowed me to experience. The people that I have worked with over the years have been wonderful, and I thank God for them. I thank God for also for my church family, who is very supportive, and they are here today. My friends who are here, who have come to lend their support, and I just love them all. It's been a pleasure working with the people that I've worked for. Councilman Lindsay, to begin with, he was the forerunner. He's the cause of me being here today. Then with Councilman Ridley Thomas and with Ron Deaton of the CLA, and they have all been beautiful. I thank all of you whom I've come in contact with. God bless you all. I will not forget you. I thank my family for being such support for me, and just God bless you all. And just thank you for these beautiful flowers. They're just gorgeous. Thank you so much, all of you.
Thank you, Ms. Jordan. Enjoy yourself. All right, we are now going to call this meeting to order at 11:03. This is the meeting of the Los Angeles City Council on Friday, February 23rd. The council has 15 members. We meet on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at approximately 10 o'clock. We're being viewed on Channel 35, and for those of you who wish to see us more than once, we'll be viewed again at 7-something tonight, and again on Sunday. And with that, we're also available by council phone. With that, let us start on the agenda. Mr. Clerk.
Approval of the minutes.
Without objection, the minutes are,
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
and without objection, those are approved.
Before starting the regular agenda, there's several items to be continued or received and filed. Item number 4 requests that matter be continued till March 2nd.
All right, I'm sorry, we're trying to
Item
sort
number
something
4,
out.
continue that matter till
Item
March
number
2nd.
Okay, item number 4 is going to be continued. Anything else? Okay.
Item number 23 and 25, a request that these matters be received and filed inasmuch as council previously acted on these matters on Tuesday, February 20th.
All right, without objection, items 23 and 25 are received and filed.
Item number 1 on the regular agenda is an item notice for public hearing. A motion is required to either grant or deny the application. This is in Council District 14.
All right, we do not have any cards. We're going to open the public hearing. Is there anybody who wants to be heard on this item? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed on item 1, and the matter is now before us. We need
A motion is required from the floor to grant or
Mr.
deny.
Pacheco, this is your district, I believe. Item 1.
Yes, Madam President, colleagues, we have reviewed the application and believe that this is a service that it will be a public convenience and necessity for that community. A 7-Eleven is opening up at this location. I would move approval.
All right, anybody else? Open the roll on Mr. Pacheco's motion, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
All right, that's approved. Okay, what's next?
Items numbers 2 through 6 on the regular agenda are items for which public hearings have been held. A motion is required from the floor on item number 2, inasmuch as there's 2 reports on one file.
All right, all right, Mr. Fuhr moves budget. Any specials, 2, 3, 5, or 6? Seeing none, open the roll on 2, 3, 5, and 6. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Those are approved.
The ordinance will be held over on item number 2 until March 2nd for a second reading.
All our ordinances are going to get held over. We only have 11 members here. We need 12 for it to pass on the first time. All right.
Brings you to items number 7 through 26, with the exception of 23 and 25, which has been acted on. Those are items for which public hearings have not been held.
All right, we have cards on items 24 and 27. And
Yeah,
Mr.
Madam Chair,
Hernandez, you will...
could I have a 3-minute hearing on item 24, and I'd ask that we move that up, but hear it now?
Yeah, second.
Okay, so that was easy.
Okay, great.
All right, so this is going to be item 24, and we will open the public hearing.
And we have some cards.
And I have Mona Field, John McDowell, and Sylvia Scott Hayes. Go for it.
Thank you. May we be sure to pass this around to you?
It's been distributed.
It's coming around? Oh, thank
We
you.
already have it.
Okay, thank you. My name is Mona Field. I'm one of the members of the LA Community College Board of Trustees. We are here today very grateful for your time and attention to the matter of rebuilding the 9 colleges of the Los Angeles Community College District. We appreciate very much that the council is considering a motion to support Proposition A on the April ballot, and we want to assure you that operating under the new regulations of Proposition 39 passed last fall by the voters, we have already begun the process of creating the citizen oversight committees for each college and a district-wide oversight committee in keeping with the proper kinds of citizen review that should apply in all such procedures. So we thank you very much and look forward to your support for Proposition A to rebuild the community colleges. Thank you.
Madam President, members of the council, I'm John McDowell. I'm a member of the faculty at Los Angeles Trade Technical College, and I wanted to let you know that the faculty throughout the district at all 9 colleges are very supportive of this measure. We very much need to rehabilitate and modernize our colleges. 75% of our buildings at all 9 colleges are more than 25 years old and need rehabilitation, and 3 of our colleges, West, Southwest, and Mission, still are not completely built out. So we look forward to your support for this measure, and we would urge you to notify your constituents, provide them some information about the bond. Obviously, I'm not sure you can advocate it in your newsletters, but if we could provide you some short information to let all the voters know about this, we would appreciate that sort of support as well. Thank you very much.
That would be helpful. Ms. Scott Hayes.
Thank you, Madam Chair and City Council members. I am also here to urge you all to support Proposition A. As you have heard, it's a very important measure that will be available to begin to address the facility needs of our 9 campuses. We have a large student body of about 120,000 students, and I think many of our students have had a great education in spite of the facilities that we have had that have been falling apart. And as you have heard, we have not even finished building 3 of our campuses. So this money would really begin to help to begin to refurbish the facilities and begin to provide the students an environment that is really conducive to learning. And I really encourage your support. Thank you.
Thank you. That closes the public hearing on item 24. Mr. Hernandez, you were up first, followed by Mr. Padilla and Mr. Fuhr.
Madam President, members of the council, thank you for offering me this opportunity. One, I'd like Dr. Daniel Castro to stand up, the acting president of Trade Technical College, and we also have the president here from Valley College. I just wanted you to know that their support for this initiative is very inclusive. And the reality is, as we talk about our schools, we tend to forget the role of the junior colleges. And the junior colleges, basically with its student population right now of 110,000 on its 9 campuses, is basically bulging. We have a situation in Los Angeles that I think is unique. When we did our zones of need studies, not only did we find a tremendous need for youth and them growing up in poverty and us trying to make sure they get the education that'll get them out of that poverty, we had a strong percentage of adults without a high school degree. And see, those adults cannot go basically back to, they can go to the adult school, but we also have to retool them. And we have to retool them for today's jobs, and more importantly, for tomorrow's jobs. So the education they get at our community college basically sets them up for a potential 4-year college education they can basically get at a much lower cost the first 2 years out of the way towards that 4-year BA. But their facilities have been lacking. I can say that as a father whose daughter drives out to Pierce College. Okay, and it's because that's where she can take the classes she needs for her field she's studying for. I can say that because I go to East LA College, I go to Trade Tech College, I go to LACC, and I know that their buildings need air conditioning. They need simple things just to be renovated and earthquake retrofitted. So this bond issuance basically is proposing to help do that. There's a Citizens Oversight Committee, there's an annual audit. They've learned from the experiences we've had. And I just ask for a unanimous vote on supporting the community colleges and allowing the voters to decide to give them some financial assistance for their capital for their buildings.
Mr. Padilla.
Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, I too rise in support of this measure and hope we are able to support and endorse this measure unanimously. In my district, we have Los Angeles Mission College, which is the smallest yet the fastest growing community college in the entire district. And so if you're looking for a case of bursting at the seams, yet again, another example. And I think our community college system, much like our K-12 system, has some of the same challenges of growing student populations, aging facilities, a growing student population, and trying to meet the needs and the challenges of educating the future workforce. The unique challenge that not only Mission College but the entire district has, this is really a district-wide, which is greater than a city-wide concern, is its ability to educate and be the door of opportunity for young people as well as adults who are already in the workforce or are seeking to re-enter the workforce. The community college system, especially for working class communities, is by far the #1 opportunity, the #1 location for higher education. It's something that's not talked enough about in the political circles. It's not talked enough about in the educational circles. We tend to focus on just K-12 or just the UCs and Cal States. But we around this horseshoe, I believe, truly understand the significance that community colleges have and the role that they play in our communities as we look at not just education, but job creation, job development, job skills, and truly redefining the role of schools and community colleges within the community. I ask for your support.
Mr. Fewer.
Thank you, Madam President. I thought Mr. Padilla very eloquently stated the rationale for supporting Measure A and why it's important in every community of the city to support Measure A. As we've been discussing, the community colleges are so often the point of entry into post-high school education for thousands and thousands of our residents. And if we fail to assure that the facilities in the community college system are adequate to the task, we're consigning future generations of the city to have a less than educated workforce, to have a population that isn't fulfilling its potential. And what every level of government needs to be about is creating the conditions for our residents to fulfill their potential. The community colleges, as Alex just mentioned, frequently don't get the credit they deserve for the crucial role they play, because sometimes community college is the end of post-high school education, but for so many, community college is the beginning, and it leads to so much more. If we fail to adopt Measure A as a community here in Los Angeles, we'll be doing a disservice to our kids and our grandkids that we can never recuperate from. We ought to unanimously support this, because whatever community in Los Angeles each of us as council members represents, we either have a community college in our council district or close enough by that our residents benefit enormously and the city's residents benefit enormously. And it's a real testament to the importance of this issue that we have two leading members of the Community College Board who have taken their time to be here this morning. I agree with those who said this deserves unanimous support.
No, we don't have to do it. Ms. Chick.
Yes, I think my colleagues have covered just about every possible point, but I still rise to strongly suggest not only that this is a unanimous vote on our part, but to our viewers and the voters in our communities to ask for them to make it a unanimous vote, which of course we know is never unanimous, but could be resounding in the percentage. As the council member in whose district resides or is cited Pierce College, one of the many gems of our community college district system, and as someone who has personally benefited and will remain forever grateful for the several years that as an adult I was a returning student at Valley College, and who is someone who has multiple staff members on both my City Hall and district office staff whose children have attended and are still attending community colleges. We have to put money into these valuable institutions for all of the reasons that have been stated, both in terms of facilities, in terms of curriculum, in terms of the faculty. Thank you.
Mr. Watts.
I would echo the sentiments of my colleagues and point out one thing, too, and give the College Board a lot of credit. A couple of years ago, there was an effort, which I and others were critical of, to do this by an assessment and to avoid the necessity of going to the voters. And the College Board then pulled that back and have now taken this forthright approach, and I think they have something very good to offer to the people of this city, and I'm hopeful, and I will certainly be one who will be supporting it. I think we're doing it the proper way this time. We're taking the case directly to the public. We have a very good case to make. There's everything to be proud of and to hold one's head up and to make that case forthrightly, and I think that the process we're using now you're to be commended for and deserves wholehearted support, and you'll certainly have mine.
Ms. Walters.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm delighted to vote yes on this resolution to add the support of the city to that of others in the city for the community college facilities bond measure. The community colleges have for many, many years, since their inception, I suppose, been a very strong link in the educational chain that helps youngsters bridge the gap between high school and a four-year college. There are many people in a lot of communities that would not have had the opportunity to go to college at all had not the community colleges been available. And now, as even our public institutions, the UC system, Cal State system, are becoming more and more expensive, and young people are becoming priced out of this market, once again, the importance of community colleges comes to the fore. I think that we must have the strongest community college system possible, and it takes facilities, it takes books, it takes teachers, and most of all, it does take the facilities in which to house all of the students and the teachers. So I think it's imperative that we all support this facilities measure on the ballot and work to guarantee its success in April.
All right, I think we're done. Item 24 is before us. Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Big surprise, unanimous vote, that is approved. Okay, next item.
Items number 7 through 22 and 26 are items for which public hearings have not been held. A motion is required on item number 8, inasmuch as 2 on one file.
All right, we have cards on, well, we did 24. All right, that's all up to 26, that's all we got. Unless there's anybody who makes themselves known immediately, the public hearings are now closed on items 7 through 26. Any specials, members of the council, 7 through 26? I don't see any specials. Would someone like to make a motion on item 8 where we have to? 8A, okay. Mr. Fewer has moved to item 8A. Open the roll on 7 through 22 and 26. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Those are approved, and the ordinance on 7 goes over 1 week.
Till March 2nd.
March 2nd, right. Brings us to,
Item number 27 on the continuation agenda is an item notice for public hearing. A substitute motion has been distributed.
all right, so we have a substitute motion. We also have somebody who wishes to be heard. Mr. Jeff Vinnick, I think is what it says.
Thank you, Madam President and members of the council. I'd like to
Wait, you get the microphone up near your mouth. We can't hear you. Go ahead.
Thank you and good morning. My name is Jeffrey Vinnick of Haight, Brown, and Bonesteel on behalf of 7-Eleven, Inc., and I'd like to briefly summarize the letter which I provided to the council office this morning. 7-Eleven, Inc. hereby agrees with the council office's recommendation that the hours of alcoholic beverage sale at the above referenced 7-Eleven store shall be as follows: Sunday through Thursday, 9:30 a.m. to 9 p.m., and Friday and Saturday, 9:30 a.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. 7-Eleven will agree to comply with the conditions and restrictions set forth in the zoning administrator's decision and will keep in contact with the council office on a quarterly basis to address any comments or concerns that the council office or its constituents may have regarding the store's operation. Thank you for your consideration.
All right, that closes the public hearing. Members of the council?
Madam Chair?
Sir.
I move the substitute item, a substitute motion for item 27. It's on everybody's desk as a substitute motion that basically verifies everything that was just read off in the letter and all the parties have agreed to.
Good. That's always a good sign. All right, Mr. Hernandez has moved the substitute 27A. Open the roll on 27A. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That's approved. Which brings us to
Item number 28.
item number 28.
Public hearing has been held on this matter.
All right, a public hearing has been held. We also have a whole bunch of cards, all of which, well, 3 are identified as in support of the motion, and 1 is not identified here. But we have had a hearing in committee because this went to committee since the last time we were here. So unless I hear a motion for a new hearing, no?
Mr. Ridley Thomas wants to be excused, but he's not out of the room.
Okay. All right. Does that leave us, we still have a quorum?
28.
Yeah, but I don't have a motion, so. All right, we, members of the council, item 28, unless I hear a motion for another hearing, the item is before us. Does anybody wish to say anything?
I would like to, as chair of the committee, would like to move the committee report. Mr. Holden and I heard this matter on Wednesday. We reviewed the recommendation from the CRA, reviewed the fact that there was a national search that was reduced down to 3 candidates. We changed the terms of the contracts to 18 months. I'm not sure if Mr. Holden wants to give his pitch here that he gave in committee. However, I would move the committee report for approval and defer to Mr. Holden if he wants to add any more comments on that. But it was supported by both of us in committee.
That in itself is impressive. Mr. Holden.
Well, we both agreed to do the right thing.
Memorialize this moment.
Memorialize this moment, you bet, and that's for sure. Madam President, members, it was difficult, I'm sure, for some members of the council to even review this. It was my position that all 9 and before that we give the mayor his request. The initial request was that there were problems at the agency and they wanted an individual, including Mr. Charlin, 6 months to clean it up. We granted that 6 months, and then, of course, more time evolved and additional time was requested, notwithstanding the fact that Mr. Charlin said, I can do it in 6 months. He made that commitment to me. But I thought he was a super duper guy if he could do that. And in the real world, recognizing that it could not be done in 6 months, and the mayor still wanted him aboard, we granted him the additional extension of time. At the time that we took a last action on this a year ago, I made it clear to just about everyone that there was going to be a new mayor in June elected, taking office the 1st of July, and therefore we should not impose anybody on the new mayor, especially with a hot potato like that at CRA. I agreed to only do 6 more months, and that was the bottom line. I talked to Mr. Charlin. Mr. Pacheco did schedule this meeting in committee, which was not the case, and I had an opportunity to talk to him and also the city attorney who represent the CRA about some specifics. A couple of things that Mr. Pacheco brought up was the fact that the district attorney is looking at an investigation that was conducted, a cause to be conducted by the administrator at CRA, and that the information cannot be shared with the members of the council. And they had some concerns about that. Madam Chair, just give me a little extra time because I made the motion. I did say, however, that we look at matters that are under investigation at all time, and we should not be excluded or precluded from looking at this. We have closed sessions. We need to know. There may be some information in that investigation which cause us to go one way or to go the other. But we don't have that before us today, and so therefore, we still have to act. I would like to have that before us, and I think Mr. Pacheco, we're going to arrange that to make sure that that happens. I asked Mr. Doug LaSalle, is that his name? Yeah, some specific questions about when the contract was terminated, what should have been the conduct of the administrator at that time. And we have to talk about that in the future because it was very confusing because I asked him specific questions. He said he was not aware, nor did he know. But as the city attorney advising the administrators and others, he knew or perhaps should have known.
All right, thank you, Mr. Holden.
No, I'm going to say...
No, your time is done.
Well, you're going to let me finish?
I don't think so.
If I go over a
You
little
told
bit-
me yesterday that you were just going to move the item.
No, if I go over a little bit, I won't speak again.
That's correct.
All right. All right.
Well, you're now over.
Oh, 4 seconds.
Well, 19.
Because you keep talking to me.
I'm trying to make you stop. Your time is up.
Or should I push my button again?
Yes, actually, you should. We'll run the clock on you some more.
All right.
See how long you can keep this going. We're going to lose a quorum.
I know. I'm not going to talk very long. You should let me finish, Madam President.
Yeah, I know. That's what you said yesterday.
I
Go
mean-
ahead.
All right, thank you. But what I thought, when I finally voted, I made the motion to approve the 18 months, and of course, it's pretty streamlined, that we would give Mr. Charlin an opportunity to once demonstrate his skills and ability, at least 1 year, with the new mayor coming aboard, which I've thought to be appropriate and fair. And then, of course, it's up to him at that point. You have 6 months to finish out Mayor Reardon's term. We're not superimposing some additional time on the incoming mayor. And at the same time, it gives Mr. Charlin an opportunity to say to them, I'm good or bad or indifferent. He can be evaluated by the new administration. So with that, Madam President, members, I moved the motion at the committee level, and now it's before us, and I intend to vote for it.
Anybody else? Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
That's done. That's approved. Next item.
Item 29 is closed session item. You wish to hold that on the desk?
What else do we have?
We have special 1, special 2,
Oh,
and a
right.
special meeting.
Yeah, let's do the specials and the special meeting.
Not on the agenda is special number 1. Findings need to be made as a Padilla, Ms.
Madam
Kowski,
Chair,
Ridley Thomas.
Madam Chair, could I ask that we add the words forthwith to item 28?
I think that's probably an excellent idea, forthwith on 28.
The first special 1, is that the City Council, subject to approval of the mayor, authorize the LAPD to apply for Operation ABC Los Angeles State Grant in the amount of $100,000.
Hold on a second. Can I ask the people who were here on the last item to go wherever you're going and let us finish this agenda? Go ahead.
And authorize the Chief of Police to accept the grant application funds forthwith on behalf of the city.
Madam City Attorney.
This is a GAP grant of $100,000. This is the 6th year that we will have applied, and we have gotten it the last 5 years. This went back and forth and was just found to be time to submit it, and it needs to be approved by the state agency by February 28th, which is Wednesday.
All right, so open the roll on the findings, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
All right, the item is before us. Mr. Padilla, we're going to lose a quorum in a minute if Mr. Ridley Thomas doesn't get back, so, all right, just go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll try to make this quick. I believe all of you are familiar with the Operation ABC that we're voting on here. I just wanted to share a personal anecdote of how meaningful this is for communities. You know, this was started about 6 years ago with the intent of boosting our police department and their ability with resources to go out and take down problem establishments. What this has resulted in is problem establishments throughout the city, bars, liquor stores, other types of businesses that are operating irresponsibly being shut down. In the process, what we have done is also identified businesses that have not paid their taxes. We have identified businesses who are not only not complying with alcohol sale laws, but had other nuisance quality of life issues, other vice problems, and we've been able to clean up entire neighborhoods because of this particular program. So it's money very, very well spent. I'm glad the state is still committed to helping us through this grant, and I urge your support so that we can apply and count on those resources for the next year.
Thank you. Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
All right, that's approved. Forthwith on that, please. Special 2.
Special 2 is a special item that is asking the city clerk to be directed to remove Senator Polanco's name from the ballot if it has not already been printed. And since it was just found out yesterday that he is withdrawn, the council would need to make the findings and then vote on it.
All right, well, we need, before we can hear from the city clerk and all the rest of this, we would need to make the findings and
Yes.
see if we're going to consider it. So open the roll on the findings, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
All right, the matter is now before, that's approved, so the matter is now before us. Mr. Pacheco.
Madam President, colleagues, I introduced this motion because as we understand right now, the ballots have not been physically printed, and in order to avoid voter confusion and to empower each voter to have a direct impact on the results, I think it would be only appropriate that the clerk confirm what we read in the LA Times and obviously act upon it, and the city clerk can give us a small report as to what he's done so far to really clarify this issue for the voters of Council District 1.
I'm Mike Carey, the city clerk. This is Frank Martinez, the executive officer. When the article appeared in the LA Times, I contacted the city attorney's office relative to my ability to remove a candidate's name from the ballot. State and city law are basically silent on this issue with the exception of the death of a candidate. The city attorney has advised me that, and basically what I wanted to do was create an administrative process between my office and Mr. Polanco that would allow him to sign an affidavit officially withdrawing his candidacy and authorizing me to take his name off the ballot. Yesterday at 5 o'clock, I communicated with his staff locally and advised them that I was going to provide a letter and an affidavit to his office and to him. I sent a letter yesterday afternoon by fax. I've sent a subsequent letter this morning to the state office. It basically outlines what I believe will now be possible. There is an affidavit attached to that. Without the signed and dated affidavit from the senator, I cannot remove his name from the ballot. If I get that affidavit in the next couple of days, because of our printing schedule, I will be able to take steps to remove that name from the ballot. We haven't gone to final print yet. I'm not thrilled with holding up the printing process. 2.1 million pamphlets just don't arrive at people's houses without some effort. So I'm hopeful I can get that material, the affidavit from the senator, if he chooses to fill it out. If he sends it to me after I've printed the materials and signs and dates the affidavit, I can take steps to, again, at the precincts and in the materials on absent voter ballots, take steps to remove his name. The preferable thing is to do it now. Obviously, in the past, when we've had a death of a candidate, we have taken steps about 1.5 weeks out to make sure that signs are posted in the precinct and that the name is crossed out of the official ballot.
So does that leave you with a recommendation with respect to Mr. Pacheco's motion?
My recommendation at this point is to do nothing with the motion because the steps are being taken. Legally, I think I have the authority to do this. And without the signed affidavit pursuant to advice of the city attorney, and I believe that advice is correct, his name will remain on the ballot. I'm hoping that if he truly did withdraw, that we can get a signed affidavit.
Madam Chair, with
Mr. Pacheco.
that advice from the city clerk, because he's already taken the first step in the motion, let's continue this to Tuesday. We can get an update as to where we are, and at that point, we can vote on it on Tuesday. So I'd simply ask that we continue it for Tuesday's agenda.
Funny, I was going to suggest the same thing.
It's February 27th.
Tuesday, right, it's the 27th. And you can at least tell us then whether you have an affidavit or have an indication of whether you're going to have one. Okay, thank you. So item special 2 is continued until Tuesday, the 27th. And we're now going to recess the regular meeting and call to order our one-item special meeting, the agenda of which is on
Birds
your
and Chick,
desk.
Fier, Galanter, Hernandez, Holden, Miskowski, Pacheco, Padilla, Ridley Thomas, Florence, Vax, Walters, Ferraro, 10 members present and quorum, Madam President.
All right, this is a special meeting of the City Council on Friday, the 23rd of February. Mr. Clerk, what is our item here?
Item number 1, it's a motion, Ferraro, Padilla, and it has to do with the transfer of $308,000 to establish an account for a 1% art obligation of the Zoo Department. Arts, Health, and Humanities Committee waived this matter.
All right, members of the council, is there anybody who wishes to be heard on this item? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
That's approved forthwith on that, and that will bring us to the end of the special meeting, which is now adjourned. We'll go back into the regular meeting.
And item 29 is before you. Do you wish to hold that for public comment?
Yes, item 29 is a closed session. We will be, as soon as we have public comment, which has no cards, so we're now going to open the public comment period and close the public comment period. Must be the rain. So we'll then clear the room if you're not involved in the executive session. And while we're doing that,
Motions for posting and referral.
motions will be posted and referred.
Council members request to be excused from council attendance. Councilmember Padilla requests to be excused on Wednesday, March 7th for personal business. This meets policy.
All right, if it meets policy, Mr. Hernandez moves unanimous vote.
Councilmember Chick requests to be excused on Tuesday, March 6th to leave at noon for personal business, and Wednesday, March 7th to leave at 11:30 for city business. These meet policy.
All right, Ms. Mizikowski moves unanimous vote.
The desk is clear, save for item number 29.
All right, those of you who are not a part of item 29, we must ask you to depart. And we're going to close up the room and deal with item 29. Members of the council, that completes our agenda. They're adjourning motions. I have some if nobody else does. If I would all rise for adjourning motions. Members of the council, I'd like to ask first that we adjourn in memory of Donella H. Meadows, who did a lot of different environmental things. She was not a Los Angeles resident, but she certainly had an influence on us. She was one of the authors
of the book, The Limits to Growth. And this was a very important book in 1972 when it first came out. She did a lot of work as one of the voices of what we now call the sustainability movement as well as the environmental movement, and she died at the age of 59 in New Hampshire. And I'd also like to ask that we adjourn in memory of a Venice resident, Stephen Lippman. This is not the Stephen Lippman you all know, who's a Santa Monica resident. This is a different one. But he was only 58, and he died recently, survived by his daughter Andrea, his son Adam, his mother Pearl Lippman, and his sister and brother-in-law. Ms. Mizikowski.
I would like to ask the council to adjourn in memory of Charlie Justice. Charlie was a 33-year veteran of the LA Fire Department. He had retired in 1995. He was well known to the council in the late 70s and 80s when we were doing an awful lot of issues in the Santa Monica Mountains, road issues affecting those subdivisions. As Charlie sat on the subdivision committee and very capably represented the fire department point of view of the need for access if any development was going to occur there. He is survived by his wife, Ruby, who was formerly in the planning department as well as a staff person in Council District 3. So I would like to adjourn in his memory.
Mr. Pacheco.
I have two, Madam President. I would ask that the council adjourn in memory of Oscar Jim Encinas, and I believe Mike Hernandez, Councilmember Hernandez may want to join second this. He is the father of Jesus Encinas, who's an active participant and member of the Highland Park community. Mr. Encinas left his wife, Julieta Encinas, children, Oscar M., Jesus, Orlando, Irma, Mary, Francisco, Sonia, Leticia, and Oscar O. Mr. Encinas Sr. was also very active in the Highland Park community area.
I'd like to join Mr. Pacheco in that adjourning.
Also would ask that the council adjourn in memory of a little infant. Baby's name is Edward Rene Jimenez, who was 5 months old, who passed away of pneumonia and other complications due to spinal muscular atrophy. Survived by his parents, Eduardo and Jessica Jimenez, grandparents Lydia Fernandez, Catalina, Jesus Jimenez, and aunts and uncles.
Mr. Padilla.
Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, I request that we adjourn in memory of Ricardo Martinez, who was a father of 6 and passed away on February 20th, just a few days ago, of complications suffered after having had a brain aneurysm. But his dedication to parental participation within the Los Angeles Unified School District was one highly recognized and highly decorated, as well as his involvement with the Title I District Advisory Committee. His certificates of commendation came from LA council members, state legislators, members of Congress. He dedicated himself to collaborating with bilingual parents in the district while developing and providing parent training and conferences throughout the district in light of all the educational reforms and challenges that are before us right now. It's people like Ricardo who will be making the difference, and he will be missed.
Mr. Ridley Thomas.
Madam President, members of the council, I'd ask that you join me in mourning the passing of Dr. Ernie Roy. Dr. Roy was a veteran educator with 34 years of experience as a science teacher, magnet coordinator, and high school administrator. He was the principal of King Drew Medical Magnet and the recipient of 9 Educator of the Year awards, the Johnson & Johnson Healthcare Visionary Award, and many, many other awards in the field of science education. He is survived by a longtime friend of mine, a college classmate who's an educator herself, Cassandra Roy, and I would think it appropriate that all members join in his adjourn in his memory, for he made a significant mark on those who aspire to positions of responsibility in the area of healthcare and the practice of medicine. And Ms. Walters, I'd like for you to be a co-presenter if you would.
Thank you. Hang on, Mr. Wax is next. Go ahead.
What
You want to finish this? Oh, I thought you had another one as well. Go ahead, Ms. Walters.
I'd very much like to be a seconder on the one for Dr. Ernie Roy. I knew him. He was a teacher in Compton and was recruited to come to the Drew Medical Magnet High School as a teacher and then subsequently as a principal. He was just outstanding. He gave all of his time. He slept very little. He gave all of his time to the kids and to the school. And more than that, he was accomplished in the field of science. And to observe him teaching a class and kids really sitting there actively listening and participating in his lesson was a thrill indeed. He was a very humble man. He was an extremely hard-working man, as I indicated, and we have truly lost a treasure in our midst.
All members on it. Mr. Wax.
Yes, I'd like the council to adjourn in memory of a very close personal friend, Patricia Burley, who battled a debilitating disease for more than 15 years and finally succumbed this week, and I'll give the clerk the pertinent information.
Thank you. Call the roll. Whoop.
Madam President.
Where were you, Mr. Holden?
Watching your back.
Well, we want you to have the last word, as always, Mr. Holden.
Thank you,
Go
Madam
ahead.
President.
The last word is amen.
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 After this, Aretha Beck Smith, she was born in Richmond Parish, Louisiana, January 1st, 1902. Mrs. Beck Smith lived in Los Angeles for nearly 55 years. She was an active member of the Second Baptist Church and the Eternal Promise Baptist Church. She was married to the late Dr. William Beck. They were blessed with 2 children, Vivian and William Jr., who preceded their mother in death. Mrs. Smith's second husband is Wonderful Smith. He is well known in the 10th District. Mrs. Smith was an active in beginning several medical support association groups, including the Charles R. Drew Medical Auxiliary. Along with her husband, Mrs. Smith leaves behind a loving granddaughter, Aretha Simon, and many more grandchildren and great-grandchildren and relatives. Services are scheduled at the Inglewood Park Cemetery, Chapel, 720 East Florence Avenue in Inglewood, California.
Thank you. That being the last word, call the roll. We are adjourned.
You are watching LA City View, Channel 35. Your city, your channel.
We now join our scheduled program in progress.